Hey everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. It's How to Win and Wow with Social Media. I'm really excited about this webinar today. I think social media is super relevant and important for all of your businesses. So a couple things to note before we get started. This webinar will be recorded, so at the end of it, I'll send out a follow-up where you're going to be able to see a recording of the webinar as well as some additional resources that we go over throughout the webinar. We also have a chat box where if you have any comments that come up, feel free to put them in there. We also have a Q&A box, so if you have any questions that come up during the webinar, feel free to put them in the Q&A box, and we'll have some time to answer those throughout and at the end of the webinar. But before we get started, I'd really love to hear where you're joining us from and what industry you all are working in. So whether it's fitness or beauty or wellness, I'd love to hear where you all are coming from. All right, so we have Colorado and a hair salon. San Jose, we have massage therapy and wellness. Indiana, beauty. Pennsylvania, oh, it's going so fast. Florida, spa, fitness, and personal training and yoga. More salon and spa. Awesome. Welcome, everyone. We're excited to have you. And I'll introduce our host today. We have Josh Bureau. He is a mind-body certified consultant, and he also runs Nomad Yoga Business Coaching. So I'll let him take it away from here.
Thank you. Hey guys, I'm super happy to jump on with you. Let me just share my screen to get us going. Move us around a little bit. Cool. So how to win and wow with social media. Again, I'm Josh Bureau. I run the Yogapreneur Collective, is actually my private group. And I help yoga studio owners run profitable yoga studios and change lives. joshbureau.com is my website. But today, what we're talking about, I just have to jump out for a second and move this up and out of the way. There we go. Today, what we're talking about is obviously social media, but how it pertains to your wellness business. So we're going to go over 4 primary things, mostly why you need to get more social, how to leverage different social media platforms to really broadcast your message, what to post and where to post it for maximum exposure, and also how to target your audience to maximize your ad dollars. And I think that's one that a lot of you guys have maybe had some frustration with, because I think a lot of us wellness business owners do. So the way that I would say it is, online marketing is the extension of your business's value communication beyond your physical space. Or very simply put, like this weird dude over the fence, it's where people's eyeballs are. And I often run into yoga studio owners, for example, that make the comment that they're not really into social media personally, and then that makes them reluctant for them to participate from the business side. And all I would say is, in 2019, you must be on social media. Even if you don't use it or like it, your business must be, just because it's where people are looking, and it's your ability to then give your value to your clients when they're not in your physical space. So you have more communication with them. Basically, social media is like the great equalizer of our time. So if any of you guys are like a small mom and pop shop situation, single location, this is your ability to then reach into your local community and communicate what the value of your product offers is to those people, and really have a fair platform to potentially compete against, larger centers who have a big marketing team behind them. Because if you're a single operation, you probably don't have a 10-person marketing team. As far as which platforms to go on, though, it gets a little bit hairy, and it's really easy for us to get overwhelmed. So I just want to jump in on a couple of the platforms here. These are the 2 big ones right now for anyone that's in the wellness business: Facebook and Instagram. Simple as that. And there's a few other platforms you probably participate in. I'll touch on those in a second, but these are the big ones. The one major thing that we have to understand about the different platforms or channels is that there's a reason people are going there, and the reason is in the name: social media. they're not going there to see an advertisement from you. So if you just put an ad out on these platforms, you're not participating what we would say is native to the platform, and people don't really listen. Now, why you want to be on these places, for example, well, quick stats, Facebook's got 1.3 billion users. It's huge for your brand loyalty. And a couple of tips that I would put in here is that, one, you kind of almost have to be running advertisements on Facebook now, just because of how the algorithmic change has been. That's not 100% true, and it doesn't mean that you don't also need to be doing organic posting, but it's a really good place for you to be running ads, especially because the targetability for things like demographics or location, and especially interests, is really powerful. Pro tips there: live video and video is where it's at, and engagement is everything. But engagement, especially between people. So not just the business and someone liking it, but actually like a conversation between two human beings as well. Instagram, really different primary use. So where Facebook is more for social sharing and interaction, any kind of media could go on there. People are going onto Instagram kind of for more artistic photo sharing, and we often don't look at it that way anymore, but it's the quick hit of something that's beautiful, and it's good for keeping your business top of mind. The one thing I would comment about Instagram is that now you could almost consider it as like 3 separate things. You have Instagram, your standard tiles, what you're posting. Then you have your Instagram stories, and that's more like the in the minute what's going on. And then you have the highlights of your stories, which are like the message that you want to always have people run into consistently, or like the most exciting things that have happened in the business. For example, would be a good place that you would put testimonials, would be in the highlights. Not quite as many users, but still huge, little bit younger age bracket as well. So depending on the business you're in, this is an important platform to be on. If you're in fitness, for example, and you do something like HIIT classes, and you're going after people who are in the 25-year-old range, you almost have to be on Instagram. And the pro tip on this is that strategy is huge. It's really easy to just throw stuff up on there, but it not have any purpose. So stepping back and like creating a strategy for that platform can be really, really big. These are a good example as well of how what you're going to post on Instagram shouldn't be exactly the same as you're going to post on Facebook. And then when we bring any other platform into it, the third platform I would mention right away would be YouTube, actually, for a lot of you. YouTube has massive growth right now. It's the second largest search engine, owned by the largest search engine in the planet. So if you want organic search to work, then YouTube is going to be important moving forward, and people watch and listen to videos. So YouTube, again, though, is a different platform, and the way people consume content there is different. So I'm probably not going to watch, well, one, you can't watch a 30-minute video on Instagram. I'm not going to watch a 30-minute video on Facebook, but I would maybe watch one on YouTube. So even if the subject matter is the same, what you post on the platform should be native to the platform. How you define that is when you go to the platform, how are people actually using it in their regular day-to-day lives? The ultimate goal here is engagement. Engagement is everything. All of the algorithms, whether it's the ad algorithm, the regular algorithm, or just the algorithm in everyone's brains who's on these things, it's about engagement. It's the social proof, it's the interaction, that's why they're there, essentially. So when we're talking about these platforms, what we immediately arrive at is that's, in my opinion, more important than where to post is what do you post? And simply put, you need to post value. Remember, social media, people aren't there for your offer. So the couple of questions you can ask yourself is this shareable? If you have a post ready to go with a photo and a write-up, and then you look at it and you think, hey, would somebody share this onto their personal platform so that their friends would see it? And if you think no, then you might want to really question it, because how much value could it possibly be adding to someone's life, which is the second question. Basically, make it interesting. And then the things that we see as mistakes are that people post things that aren't clear. They don't have any specific angle or point that they're making, or there are too many points, or it takes too much effort to consume all of the information and think about it. You can post at pretty high frequency on a lot of these platforms. So usually singularity in message and like hyper clear on the message is what's going to land the best for people. And again, post native to the platform that you're on. So a couple of quick social media hacks. These are just a quick list for you guys. One, video is where it's at. If you love being on video, excellent. If you hate being on video, love being on video, because everything is pointing towards video. More importantly than video specifically, the image, what I would say is the sound. We're moving towards a culture of sound. I would predict that in the very near future, we're going to be listening to things more than we think. YouTube is an example. A lot of people turn YouTube on to listen to the information. They don't even watch the video. Some of the most viewed YouTube videos of all time are the music videos. So there's an example. Facebook specifically, live video is huge. It's not dead. I read an article, someone said live video is over. It is absolutely not over. It still gets 3 times more watch time and 10 times more commenting and engagement. Now, live video specifically, what I would say to consider though, is that people who don't know your brand, don't have any rapport or affinity with you, are probably not going to participate with your live video very much. It's the people who you do already know. So live video is a great way for you to have a high value communication point on Facebook with the existing clients and fans that you already have. Instagram, one of the quick hacks, because a lot of people miss this, as you see the red arrow in the bottom of the screen there, put the actual business name in your handle. So we see quite often, and that's for searchability. When people search, you hear people talking about hashtags and stuff like that and how important that is. Yes, it is important. But also, when you search, it's looking for the actual title name or the handle name in Instagram. So if you can put it right into, now you have limited characters, but if you can put it right into the handle, you show up better on search in your area. YouTube, the thumbnails matter. So the first image is what really helps people decide to click on you versus other things. But in general, for any platform, these ones, and then even the platforms we're not talking about, when we talk about like Twitter, Google, Reddit, Quora, like all of these other things, definitely you want to have a strategy, and I would highly, highly, highly recommend creating a calendar. So where social media becomes stressful is when we're trying to post in real time all the time, because then it's like this slow burn and we always have to create more content. It makes way more sense for you to batch the content, make a strategy, have a calendar, and then pre-schedule everything. And then how do you build your channels is a big question that we have. There's 2 really, really simple ways that are incredibly effective. Here's the first one. All of you guys who are on here, I think we've got a good group of participants. Pull your phone out right now as you're watching and go to Instagram, and please follow me on Instagram because as you can see, I need more followers. It's Josh Biro, Yoga Business Coach. That's how you get more followers. A lot of the businesses out there, they don't understand why people don't interact with them, but they also don't ask people to interact with them. They never have like a game, or they never have it in an email saying, hey, follow me. And I don't mean just like the little icon at the bottom of the email. I mean, send an email to somebody. If you're a salon, for example, send a thank you email afterwards that actually says, hey, it was really awesome having you in the studio. We'd really love it if you'd follow our YouTube channel. Check it out, link, and you'll start to build followers. And not only that, you'll start to build followers that actually care about you in the business, especially if you're posting that value content. So just straight up ask for it in person. And then the other thing is, if you have one channel that's big, you can use it to promote your other channels. So it makes sense if you're on YouTube to say, check out my Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, say, go follow me on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, you say, go check out my YouTube. So you can move between all of the different channels as well. Now, we've been going quick because what we're trying to get to here is a little bit more of this, ads and targeting. Should you or shouldn't you run ads or targeting? Well, yes, you should, usually. What are we talking about? Do put money behind a post. So this is when to spend money and when to not spend money. Spend money when you need or you want to get a post, really get a post seen. For example, for an event, if you want to make sure that it's getting seen by a large number of people in your area, probably plan on having some money behind it. You should have a budget for this. When you don't have much organic traction, or if you're trying to build up a platform's presence, starting from scratch and building it organically is totally possible in 2019. It's just slow and more difficult than it used to be. So if you just strategize some finance around it, post good content, and then promote it to people, that will speed up that process quite a bit. You also want to put money when you want to show your content to a specific audience. The way that the ad platform is built on whether it's Google or Facebook, because just to be clear, Google owns YouTube. So when you're doing Google ads, that's how you do your YouTube ads as well. And when you're doing Instagram, they're owned by Facebook. So you're going to run your Instagram ads probably out of your Facebook ads platform as well. So when we're doing Facebook ads or Google ads as the primary ones, in either case, you can really dial in on which audience to show things to as soon as you put any money onto the post. So if you want to be specific and have some people see a post and other people not see it, for example, then plan on spending money on it. It might only be $5, and that would let you have that targetability. And the final one, and this is a big one that I think, especially in the wellness industry, we don't do often, is when a post is performing particularly well and you want to double down on it. Now, I don't mean like you post, hey, it's my birthday today, and then all of your clients say, hey, happy birthday, and that's performing well. That doesn't necessarily mean you should put more money behind that. What I mean is you post some really valuable content and 1,000 people, let's say you post a video that's a minute long and 1,000 people watch the full length of the video. That's performing very well. So it's doing way better than your other posts. How likely is it that those are the only 1,000 people that content matters for? Very unlikely. So that would be a good time to double down on that post because it's already performing well and run it as an ad and put some money behind it because you know that people are reacting and interacting with it heavily. Also, when you run an ad from an existing post, it brings the social proof of all the previous comments and likes and stuff with it. So as soon as someone new sees it, it looks super popular, which is good for your status. I would not, on the other hand, put money behind posts when your content is shit. Excuse me, I don't know if we're supposed to say that in here. Or you run the risk of unbranding yourself. So don't post garbage and then put money behind it. That won't help anything. It just makes it worse. I would never put money behind it just because Facebook or another platform tells you to. You probably get that notification on Facebook. Hey, this post is performing better than other posts, or other people like you put money behind these posts. Don't just listen to that. Sometimes it could be true, but I would just say Facebook's job is to try to get more money out of your pocket. So that's usually not the best strategies just to follow that. If you have no larger strategy, no purpose, then it might not make sense to put a lot of money behind posts. You want to have some strategy first. So I would always start with that strategy. Don't make the strategy overly complicated, but you really want to know that if you put money behind a post, why are you putting money behind it? Who is supposed to see it? And then what action do you want them to take afterwards? So the strategy goes beyond just the post itself. Nobody buys a pass to your yoga studio just on Facebook. They have to go from Facebook to somewhere else and go through a little funnel to then ultimately end up in the studio. So until you have all of those steps marked out, might not make sense to put too much money onto something.
Hey Josh, just wanted to forward a question over to you from one of our attendees today. They had a question. Their comment is they thought that they have to post something on their feed and Instagram in order to promote it. Is this true?
No, that's not true. You can do like, we used to call them dark posts. There was a minute when that was a thing. No, you can go into the Facebook ads platform and make an ad specifically that then you run on Instagram as just an advertisement, and it will not be in your Instagram. What they're referring to is running an ad on their phone from a post, like promoting a post basically on Instagram. So it's not necessarily the same thing. So if you're looking to run something as an ad on Instagram and you don't want it in your feed, then do it through the Facebook ads platform, the business manager instead. Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, and it's a good example as well of how there's like 7 ways to do the same thing on some of these platforms, which makes it seem at first overwhelming. Don't make it too complicated in your mind. In the end, all you're doing is making a post and then targeting it to an audience. That's essentially what's happening. You want to do it through whatever the ads manager platform is for the platform that you're on. So like I said, YouTube, you're going to do that on Google. Facebook's on Facebook's ads manager, or Instagram's going to be on Facebook's ads manager as well. And then to finish this off, yeah, don't throw money at posts at random without a budget plan. It's a really easy way to just waste some money. So it's a good idea to have a budget and know that you're staying within it. In general, for obviously all of your marketing, but specifically even for your social media. And if you're not going to go back and measure, how do you know if you're getting the results you want? So the other big thing about money and when you might want to pause on spending any money would be that you're going to just put dollars onto a post and just cross your fingers and then leave. Because there's the second phase to when you run an ad or put money onto a post, and that phase is the measuring phase. What did that money actually create? Did more people see it? Did someone interact? Did we convert anybody? Did someone come in and buy something? Like, what actually happened? Was that even the goal, that they needed to buy something? Because it's quite often we would just put dollars behind posts for engagement, not actually asking them for a sale. And if you're not clear what you want the dollars or spend to do, that sort of ties into the same thing. Now, a couple of things that come up for sure that we want to just touch on really quick is the Facebook pixel or the Google tag. What the heck is a pixel? Do I have one? Do I need one? Where do I put it? So it's really quite simple. It's a piece of code that you put on your website, and it acts as a communication line between the ads platform and your website. So Facebook, every single one of you right now, a lot of you will already have this done. You can go to the Facebook Business Manager, create a pixel. You only do it once. Put it onto the header code of your website, and Bob's your uncle. That's it. You're done. You don't have to do it again. But what it allows you to do is say, if someone visits my website, send that person an ad, which would be a good idea in a lot of cases, because if you think for a minute, when's the last time you were just perusing websites? I mean, we just don't do it. If someone ends up on your website, that's not a small action in 2019. That's a big action. That's someone expressing extreme interest in your business and extreme interest in needing to solve a problem that your business might be able to solve for them. So unless they come into your physical space immediately after your site, it's a good idea for you to try to stay top of mind. And if they're actively researching and going to people's websites and they land on yours in that researching phase, you don't want your website and your message to get lost amongst the crowd of the other 10 places that they found. If you're in a larger market, especially. If I'm looking for a yoga class in San Francisco, there's one on every corner. So if I'm going to websites and I land on yours, by the end of the next hour, I forget about the existence of you and your studio altogether. But if you have ads retargeting me, you've just reminded me, hey, don't forget we're here and we're awesome. That might end up bringing me in, whereas otherwise, and it might really differentiate you from the crowd. If you're going to be running any regular ad campaigns and you're going to be measuring them, you essentially have to have this on your site as well, because it's how you can track someone clicked here and they went to my site and they did this thing. Now, audiences are where a lot of the magic happens. I've made this really brief just for the sake of brevity and for our time. But here are the major pointers that I would say, and there's more power in audiences in a wellness business with Mind Body than you might really think. So the first is, we often over-target, especially if you are a single or only a one city. Even if you have multiple locations, but you're only in one city, we often over-target. We go into Facebook or we go into Google or we go into whatever, and then we say, okay, I want women who are 25 to 29 who like dogs, who are a Facebook business manager, who also eat ice cream. And we try to target that person. Well, you just eliminated like 98% of the people around you. And remember the stats that it's still only 2 or 3 out of 10 people that even pay for fitness or pay for a lot of wellness things, including salon, on the regular. So there's a lot of people that we can inadvertently eliminate that would be totally interested in our business. So the suggestion is, start by sending ads out that are a pretty wide audience. They're going to be your geography plus a space, maybe just male or female, and an age bracket. That's it. Don't over-target. When you're doing this, think of it like creating a conversation with them. And that conversation needs to matter to them. So offer value, try to get their engagement, and then ask them for something. So with your audiences, the consideration is that you're targeting people on purpose so that you know it's a type of person who's probably looking for the type of message that you have strategically put in front of them. It's about the conversation. One of the examples we use, if you're a yoga studio and you have an intro pass, so say you have a 1-month intro, 30 days for $30, how often do you just walk out on the street, see somebody walk across the street, stand in front of them and say, I have an intro pass, 30 days for $30, buy it, and try to give them a card. I mean, go try to do it today and see how many people actually say yes and buy it. If you think of it that way, when you're on social media, why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense. You would never just randomly blurt it out. So to run an ad that says intro pass 30 days for $30, lots of people have an intro like that. It's just noise. People are going to shut it out. We get 3,000 types of offers a day per person right now in North America. We're good at shutting shit out. So I would say that you want to give them some value so that they pay attention to you. Get them to engage with you. A comment, a like, or whatever else. It's a conversation that you're trying to start with them. The one major thing is that always consider there's a human being on the other side of that ad consuming that information. If you consider what that person wants and what they want to hear and see, that's what really is going to matter. And then once you've established that conversation, then you can ask, or offer, I should say. Actually, it shouldn't be ask, it should be offer. Offer something like, hey, come book a yoga class, whatever. So example audiences that I think all of us should just have ready to go for sure. All the website visitors. So there's that pixel. Anyone who visits your website, high interest. Visitors to your social media business profiles. Think about it for a second. Those of you who are using Instagram is a really good example. Where do you go when you go on Instagram? Maybe your own profile, if someone else has liked stuff on there, but you definitely scroll the feed and you probably go through the Instagram stories. I would bet that you spend 80 to 90% of your time in one of those two places, which just means if you did click on somebody's name and ended up on their business profile, it must be because you really wanted to see what that person's about. The level of interest and intent that you have towards that business is way higher than the normal things that you see on the platform. So if someone ends up on your Facebook business profile and your Instagram business profile, they're a good vetted lead. I would be retargeting them. Now, the other thing we can do is we can export our list from Mindbody. You use the mailing lists report. You would export the whole thing to Excel, reformat it as a CSV file, and you can actually upload it into both Google and into Facebook. And that would let you target that list with ads. The one thing that is interesting about this is that many of you have probably encountered the issue of people unsubscribing from your emails. So if you have a list that you've been spending a significant amount of time, money, effort, years even building up, lots of studios have tens of thousands of people in their Mindbody system, but half of them have unsubscribed because people don't like emails anymore. You could put that list and then have ads go in front of them so they still get a reminder about your existence. The other thing you can do is make a lookalike audience of that list, which could be very powerful. The second one from Mindbody is the Mindbody Online's big spenders list. So there's the big spender report. You can export that, do the same thing, because those are the people that are the top demographic for your business. I would definitely be especially making lookalike audiences of the big spenders list. And general wide audience based on geography. So like I said, this is the total freebie. If you're gonna run ads as a yoga studio for your yoga class, I would do something that's very low barrier of entry up front. And the starting audience that I would do would be a video ad to women aged 25 to 55 within X mile radius, probably 5-10 mile radius of your physical location. That's it. That's the audience right there in 90% of cases, at least the first one. So kind of to sum this whole thing up, consider that, and we're going to do question and answer because I see you guys got a bunch in the chat there. So we'll jump on that in a second. The basic goal of any post, doesn't matter if it's an ad, if it's targeted, if it's just an organic post or whatever, is engagement. That's the major understanding that you've got to have about this stuff. And the example of what engagement looks like, if it's an ad, it's a click. So the ad is only asking them to do one thing, click the ad so that they go to wherever the rest of the stuff is. If it's not an ad where you're asking them to click to go somewhere else, the click is like, or the click is comment. That's basically it. So a couple of other resources. I do have a Dream Studio. This is for yoga studios primarily, but it'd be good for any of you guys. You're all welcome to grab it. It's totally free. you go to joshbiro.com/dream-checklist-MBO, I'll put it in the chat in a second as well. There is a Dream Studio checklist that you can download, and it does have some social media channel checkboxes in there. So it's a good starting point for you to start checking some boxes around social media, and just gives you a little bit of organization on how to begin to approach the whole thing. Yeah. I'm going to stop my share and jump in the chat here, and let's do some question and answer, I think, a little bit as well. Will we get an email? Oh yeah, email a copy of this. Well, let me jump in the Q&A here. Please explain the pixel. I think that we did kind of cover the pixel. You'll get it in the recording as well. A pixel is just a fancy word. All it is a piece of code that goes onto your website, and that code communicates between, usually, for example, Facebook and your website. So when something happens on your website, it tells Facebook, hey, this happened. When Facebook sends somebody to your website, it can track and say, oh, the person did arrive on the website. So it's a communication coding piece. Once you have your pixel set up or your Google tag set up, it's just totally done. How do I put pixel into a Squarespace website? Serge, I would just go into Squarespace's help suite. It's super easy on Squarespace to do that. If I remember correctly with Squarespace, on the left-hand bar, you go into the general settings of the site, and you go into the head code, and that's where you would post it in. So you're gonna go to Facebook Business Manager, get the code, post it over there. But I do know that Squarespace also has videos that literally walk you through all of the steps for doing that. What is a better click destination? Oh, a whole bunch just came into the question here. Hang on a second. Instagram related, profile, website, or other. Great question, anonymous attendee. It doesn't have your name in there. A click destination, yes. So one of the things that we mentioned is when to spend money or when to not spend money. When to not spend money is if you don't know where you're sending somebody, because if they click and they just go onto your homepage, that probably won't result in what you're wanting to have happen. Now, I'm going to say this as bluntly as I can. Mindbody is the best platform for your on-the-ground management of this stuff. Never send someone from a Facebook ad straight to your cold Mindbody system. Do not do that. It's called the kiss of death in the marketing world, because it's not built for that. What you need to do instead is send them to your website or to a landing page and use Mindbody's branded web on that page. If you need them to do something in Mindbody, that's the way that actually works. So never send them straight to Mindbody. Send them to a page that you build. So to answer the question, where do we send people? Generally, you want to send people to a page that is congruent with whatever you said in the ad. So remember, it's a conversation, right? If I said in the ad, yo, get a free week, and then I dropped you onto my homepage, it's very unlikely I'm going to go scroll around and try to find it. People just don't do that. So what I would say instead is whatever you say in the ad, it needs to go to a page where that is the only focus of the page. This is why landing pages become very powerful for you. I know it says in here, a lot of you guys, it looks like you're using like Squarespace, for example. It's really easy to create an extra page or a landing page in Squarespace. There's also add-on programs that you can use. ClickFunnels is one that's popular, obviously. Lead Pages is really quite excellent. There's lots of different ones you can use for creating that page. Do you recommend having more than one pixel on a page? No, I do not. You want to have one pixel on your site in general. For a wellness business, we generally just want the pixel in the head code of the entire site. You probably also want your Google tag. I don't want to get too technical on it, but you could also put your Google pixel and your Facebook pixel and your Google tag into Tag Manager so that you have less, we say, junk on the site. If you put too much code on your site, it slows the whole site down. Talk to your site guy about that, whoever builds your site and helps with that. You said not use your intro special as an ad. Would you ever say your summer special as an ad? Good question, Wendy. Generally, no. It depends on the audience, though, specifically. So Wendy was asking, like, would you send your summer special out as an ad? If you think that the audience you're sending it to would buy it, then you could do that. But I'm not sure what business you're in, Wendy. If you're something like a yoga studio again, and you're doing like, hey, 3 months for $125 or whatever you're going to do for your summer special, then I would probably not just send that out in general all over the place. I would maybe send that to one of the targeted audiences, such as your Mind Body list. That could work. But I think if someone hasn't been warmed up to you before, and that's the first thing they see, you're not leading them with value. So it's unlikely they're going to click and go through. Somebody might, but it's a good way for you to keep your costs unnecessarily high. In Instagram, promote this post. There seems to be no option to link to landing pages. Yes, this is where, again, if you're having trouble running ads on Instagram, it's probably because you're in Instagram trying to run the ad. It just sucks to do it there. If you want to get serious about it, you need to go to business.facebook.com, make sure that you have a business manager page, and start running all of your ads for both Facebook and Instagram through that. You just connect your Instagram account to it. It's very easy to do. Facebook's help suite is also enormous and very simple. You can search anything, so that can kind of help you make that happen. Done. What is a good way to advertise for facials? Yeah, good question. Amanda, so if you're a salon, or if you're a beauty product place, or if you're doing something like facials, what I would say is most people who are scrolling through Facebook aren't scrolling through because they want to buy a facial. So saying, hey, buy a facial doesn't make sense. But those same people who have either gotten a facial before, or the other option would be haven't gotten a facial before because they don't understand why they would get one, either of those people might be interested in you educating on them about a facial. So I would put short videos out, 45 seconds to a minute maximum, that are about like the top 3 reasons why you need to get a facial. The top 5 reasons all men should get a facial, and then you target men. Or, what the estheticians are not telling you about the products in the facials they're using and why we're different. So, give them some value, create yourself as the authority. And then remember, if you put a video out, this is another example of the retargeting and the pixel and stuff. If you put a video that says top 3 reasons why everyone needs to get a facial monthly or whatever, anyone who watches that video, you can send an ad to those people. So you're like using the first ad to say, hey, take a look. And the people who take a look, they've expressed interest, follow up with them and say, oh, 50% off facials, April only. That might work. So I would lead with something value-based. Video alternative. Whoa, there's too many coming at the same time. Hang on a sec. If you're trying to find a new audience, would you recommend reaching your most popular demographics, age, gender, location, or your second most popular demographic? I think I understand your question, Autumn. If you're trying to find a new audience, when we're saying new audience, I would always start wide and then get narrow. So if you've already done a bunch of wide audiences, you've got retargeting audiences, everything else, and then you're trying to like niche down, then yes, then I would say you could go, smaller. Usually location's going to stay the same, but you might play with age and gender a little bit. A really good example here is that the way you would say something to someone who is 20 in terms of how it would be powerful is different than someone who's 60. So that's why you would niche that down. Gender also comes into play, and both age and gender, the other consideration when you're trying to find a new audience, use a new platform. So right now, in terms of interaction, especially in wellness businesses, Facebook and Instagram are where it's at, especially for women. Instagram is generally a little bit younger, Facebook generally a little bit older, so like 35 and older. So if you're going after the niche of women in their 50s, I would use Facebook. On the other hand, if you're going after 30 to 40-year-old men, they're not using Facebook in the same way, but they are, all of them, every single one of them is on YouTube for sure. So even if they don't think they are. So YouTube would be where you would show up for that audience as well. So that can help you find a new audience without it being about targeting. It's more about where you show up as well. What types of websites are more popular currently? Example, HTML, word processing like that. We're not going to talk about websites too much. I think it's just outside of the scope. Squarespace is an excellent website for the majority of people. It lets you do some custom coding. It's one that I definitely would recommend if you want to do it yourself. If you're going bigger and for longevity and you're going to hire someone to code on a site and you want maximum flexibility for all time, just go on WordPress because you can do basically anything there. You might just need to pay someone to do it if you're not a coder yourself. Great info. Are there professional people who help set this up, or do you do this? Thank you, Deborah, for asking. I work only with yoga studio owners. That is my niche. That is the language that I speak, and we do work directly on this stuff, even one-on-one, and set it all up, and have professionals on my team that do that. So if you are a yoga studio owner, go to joshbiro.com. There's even a free call that you can sign up for there, and I can let you know about how that all works. Yeah. Do you have to spend money? Oh, where did it go? Holy cow. Okay, I missed that one. Sorry, we'll come back to it. How long should the live video be? This is actually a good question. Thank you so much for asking this question. You're saying live video, but honestly, how long should any video be is the question that comes up. And the answer is only as long as necessary. That's it. Now, the one caveat to this is understand that on Instagram, nothing that's longer than 59 seconds, like 1 minute, it won't post. So you have a maximum on Instagram of 1 minute. But more importantly than that, on all other platforms is how long does your video hold somebody's attention? All of us on this call, if the movie is good enough, will sit through a 3.5 hour marathon movie at the theater and pay way too much for popcorn as well. But all of us have also experienced seeing on our phone a video pop up, and after 4 seconds, we're like, nope, out, because the value isn't there. So the question is not a question of length of time. The question is quality, value, and can you keep it going? So at no point in a video should it lag, should it get boring, should it get repetitive, should you not be giving value, because as soon as that happens, and it's fast, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, it's out, people are done. They're not gonna be in there. The other sort of tangential but important detail is most videos that are on Facebook or Instagram, I guess for that matter, are watched on someone's phone with the sound off. So you need to have subtitles on the video, which you can automatically generate in Facebook anyways, because people are gonna read the video and then turn the sound on. The second detail is any video on any platform, you have 3 to 5 seconds to get someone to pay attention to you. So if you don't say something massively interesting to me in the first 5 seconds, you lost me. It's over. I'm going to keep scrolling. I'm going to move on to something else. So the first thing out of your mouth cannot be, hi, my name's Josh, and I like to go for moonlit walks on the beach. Also, did you know about yoga? I mean, you're already gone. It has to immediately say, this is the number one thing that you have to know as a yoga studio owner, or you will die. Like, it's going to really go hardcore right out of the gate, just to get people hooked into what your content is going to be. How do you import the mailing list into Google and Facebook ads? I know how to get the CSV file, but just not how to import it. Yes, Serge, you'll have to just check their help suites. It's too many steps, but it's pretty straightforward. Basically, you're going to just go into Facebook, for example, the Facebook ads platform, and you're going to create a custom audience. You can either do that by itself, or you can do it in the midst of creating an ad on the platform. And then you would say customer file, and you would upload the file to the platform. And then it's saved there, and you have it for all time. Yeah.
Hey, Josh, it looks like we're kind of coming up on time. So if you want to just go through one more question, and then we'll wrap it up. There's so many good ones in there. We could keep going all day.
We could keep going all day. This is fun. They're coming so fast, I keep missing some. Okay, I'm going to scroll down a little bit. Oh, this is a good one, actually. How often should you post on social media? How many times a day? Great question, Amanda. This goes back to the content quality again. Go for quality over quantity right now. That might be completely backwards of what other people have told you, or what you read online, or what you think about. Just trust me on this one. Like we said, engagement is everything. People need to be engaging with your content. So if you put out 2 posts a week only on Instagram, but they're epic posts with a great photo and you spent the time on the write-up and it really offers value to people's lives and then they're going to interact with it, that would be better for you than posting 3 times a day just some random shit that nobody cares about. So it goes back to adding value. This is exactly why strategy and your calendar can be so powerful, because you can say, look, if I'm a yoga studio, I want to be the authority on hot yoga in my market. So my communication points need to be about hot yoga and all of the myriad of details about whatever, why it's awesome. Create that content, make it super high valuable, then create it so that it is going to appear native to the platform for Facebook, for Instagram, for YouTube, for Google, whatever else. Get it all together and then have a calendar and pre-schedule it. Now I've created 30 pieces of content, or let's use the example, 50 pieces of content, and then you schedule it out to drop 1 per week on all platforms for the next year of time. So it sounds like a lot of work up front, but really we're talking about 1-2 days of hard work, and then for a whole year, quality content once a week is dropping out. Then next month, do it again, then you have 2 a week. Then the next month, do it again, then you have 3 a week. So that would be one of the strategies you could use. So to directly answer the question again, just to make sure I'm thorough, how many times do you post? As many times as necessary to get your message out there, as many times as you can, as long as the quality of the content is high and your stress level is low. If you're a wellness business owner, burnout is extremely real in our industry, you guys. You got to take care of yourself. So if you're stressed about making 5 posts a day, not a good idea. Go for quality, post once a day, maybe once every couple days instead, get interaction.
Thank you so much, Josh. That was really awesome content, and I know that everyone enjoyed listening to that too. Probably put a lot of ideas into all your brains about what things you can start doing right now for your businesses to start marketing yourself out on social media. So thanks, Josh, and thank you for everyone who attended. Again, this is recorded, so I'll send out a follow-up email so you guys can all see that, as well as some other resources. But if you're looking for more details, I know, Josh, you put your info up there so that they can get in touch with you. And if you have any questions too, we have a resource center on mindbodyonline.com that has some helpful checklists and guides along this topic. Did you have something else, Josh? Oh.
Just thank you.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you at our next webinar. Have a good day.